In today's video, we're going to cover some Cooler Master peripherals and basically we're going to mainly focus on this one right here. This is Cooler Master Tempest GP2711 and I do have to say quite interesting when we're talking about the specs and what does it have for the price, because the price is quite outstanding. I think it's $450 euros, something like that, but you'll have a link in the description below just to check out the price that is current, right? Next to that, we have the MasterMouse MM712 and we have a mouse pad which is MP511 Speed XL. This is, I would say, a logical combination, right? If you go with one set of peripherals, you're going to combine them with some other set of peripherals. And I didn't want to cover the mouse and the mouse pad with their master liquid, right? It's kind of it doesn't make sense in those terms. This, if you're going with some Cooler Master peripherals and if you want to pair everything up, this would be a logical choice in terms of that. But regardless of that, let's continue with the video. So first of all, I'm going to cover the mouse and the mouse pad, and then I'm going to focus on the GP2711 because this is quite interesting and I think you guys love this one because it's quite cool. As I said, for the price, it's outstanding. But first of all, let's go with the MasterMouse MM712. Now, the cool thing about it, it's lightweight. It's standard left, right click, middle click on the scroll wheel, which is fully rubberized. So it's not just the top, it's completely rubberized, and it kind of creates some certain sound. But that's not all. Of course, you have two side buttons and for your thumb, and that's quite cool. Quite silent, I do have to say, even though there is a click. Compared to some others that are really clicky, this is outstanding. And the left and right click, a bit louder than the side buttons. But regardless of that, it's still cool and it's really enjoyable to play. We have Type-C for charging and for wired connection because you have three possibilities. You have Bluetooth, you have 2.4 gigahertz connection with USB dongle, which has a compartment in the bottom, so you just have to open it, place the USB dongle, which is kind of loaded with a spring. You can't actually push it inside to be fixed. You do have to push it with the door here and close it up. And then we have wired connection, which is regular. You just have to switch behind it. Now, next to that, you have a pairing option. This is for Bluetooth. And of course, you have a bottom button, which is adjustable through Cooler Master Master Control Plus software. And it's quite cool because this mouse is backed up with that software and it gives you loads of options, from adjusting the light here at the back with the subtle and quite nice Cooler Master logo. You have option to adjust the buttons, including the bottom one, which is currently set to DPI settings. Then you have DPI settings to adjust macro buttons, record and stuff like that. But that's of course not all, because you get fully white braided cable, which looks quite nice, I do have to admit, and it's really flexible in those terms. You have an adapter, which if you desire to use this cable and then extend your wireless connectivity or some sort, you connect the Type-C here at one side and then you connect the USB dongle to the other. Now, there's another thing that you get inside the box for the MM712 is, well, you have an alcohol pad to clean up the mouse and you can grab the grips. Now, this is quite cool because you have it for left and right click, you have for the left side and for the right side. And it's quite outstanding because it kind of gives you really nice additional grip. Unfortunately, the grips are black. The mouse is white, so it kind of goes into that segment. But really loving the mouse, and actually when testing out the monitor, I did play with this one and it was enjoyable because this mouse pad and this mouse really slide nicely together. When I'm saying slide, I mean this was outstanding, right? Now, sorry for this. Now, the MP511 Speed XL. 900 times 400 times 3 millimeters, nicely stitched. I mean, I can't even take out those stitches apart. It's so dense, it's unbelievable. Nice rubber base, which really does keep the mousepad stable. But since it comes rolled up, and which is quite obvious for such a huge mousepad, it does have waves at the end, and my sample actually had only waves at one side. So do take that into consideration, that it will definitely take some time, or just play some books during the night or something, just to keeping it flat and to flare out, and that's it. So for the stitching, it's called anti-fray stitching, which extends the life of your pad. And I think I've mentioned that a couple of times before. If you go with a mouse pad that doesn't have stitching, it will definitely be destroyed very, very quickly. You have really smooth surface, which is outstanding, and really the mouse glides outstandingly good, and splash resistant as well, because the surface is that way designed that you can just simply wipe it off. Not spill proof, but splash proof. And the non-slip rubber base really keeps it quite nice. Now, that's it. I didn't want to go too much into details because I'm really impressed. While I gamed with the mouse and the mouse pad, it was outstanding, I do have to admit. Now, this thing right here, it resembles to the GP27U when we're talking about the visuals, right, from the outside and from the front and from the stand. The stand is again Cooler Master logo, nicely subtly done. And what I didn't notice in that monitor, and I think I didn't notice that. The cool thing about this stand is, for instance, if you have a wired keyboard, this is great. You can push the cable through the stand and it goes outside. So additional cable management possibilities, and I haven't seen this in any types of monitor. They usually have huge stands that go a bit, well, basically touching the front two legs and then the back, and yeah, there's that. But this one actually hides it quite nicely, and you can see that from a close-up. It's really nicely done, and big thumbs up. When we're talking about the cable management, you get a clip at the back that basically has a hole, so it kind of fits in perfectly. And because of it, you can really nicely rearrange your cables. It's better to have anything at the back to hold the cables and to make your setup a bit nicer than literally nothing. So we had that situation. Now, of course, since I mentioned that it resembles to GP27U, the front and the base are the same. The back part is also the same when we're talking about the stand, and we have VESA mount 100x100, but the back side is completely different and it doesn't resemble to it, which is totally irrelevant when we're talking about a gaming monitor, which of course you won't see at the back. So that's something else, but yeah, regardless of that. Now, for the specs and why I'm so fascinated about specs in general comparing to the price, we have VA panel, mini LED, QuantumDOT film, 576 dimming zones, 27-inch, 1440p at 165 Hz. It has FreeSync and it's G-Sync compatible. Native color depth and gamut is 8-bit DCI-P3. It has HDR10 and display HDR 1000. Response time. Now here's something what I didn't expect. 4 milliseconds gray to gray and 1 millisecond MPRT. Brightness is quite also impressive. 600 nits at SDR and 1000 nits at HDR. Speakers 2 times 2 watts, but honestly, they are all right. Don't get me wrong. But if you want to have a bit better, let's put it this way, sound at least, so it doesn't have a bit of an echo, because these speakers, not these ones particular from the this GP2711, but in general, they do have some echoing inside. So yeah, I would skip those if you have a possibility to grab at least those separated ones, smaller ones, 2.0 channel, whatever, and grab those, connect those, and you'll go much better with those. Then for the connections, now it has one DisplayPort 1.4, two HDMI 2.0, one USB Type-C, which is also 15 watts PD charging support, one 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. Then we have USB 3.0, one up and two down. Now, because of that, we have KVM's functions as well. So it all depends what you connect and how you connect. It has a KVM function. It has almost 95% coverage of DCI-P3, 99% sRGB, and Adobe RGB is 93.5%. And this is quite cool because it has high native contrast and large color gamut, and the colors are really outstanding. I mean, I didn't even adjust anything. I left it stock as it is. The only thing that you see later on in the OSD menu is I tried to adjust a bit of a brightness, adaptive sync, and all the other stuff, and it actually well, I push the brightness to the maximum, and it's really outstanding. So if you go with the stock settings and you go with games such as Witcher 3 or anything similar to that, where you have loads of dark areas or where you have to go into, I don't know, dungeons or whatever, or you're playing in the dark completely, not switching off your lights in your room, but in general, gaming in the dark, when we're talking about character entering dark rooms, it's great. But immediately when you turn on local dimming, it made HDR darker. So what happens here is aggressive local dimming, it reduces HDR brightness and quality. And because of it, what I would suggest with this monitor is to leave the local dimming off, because there is plenty of negative contrast, and yeah, there's that. I mean, there's nothing left to say. So sharp and bright pictures with really high output, really outstanding accurate color with selectable gamuts, smooth lag-free gameplay, solid build quality, excellent value when we're talking about everything all together, because for $450 euros, you can get an outstanding spec monitor, without a doubt. Pictures are great, and I do have to admit that. Now, when we're talking about the movements of the stand, you have -5 to 20 degrees tilt, you have 90 degrees portrait mode in both sides, so you can flip it from one side to another. So basically, if you have it in vertical mode on one side, you can flip it for 180 degrees, and that's really cool because it depends on which side you're going to place it if you go vertical, right? And then we have plus minus 15 degrees swivel, and height is from 0 to 110 millimeters. Now, I really want to test monitors. I really want to check out how the picture actually shows when you basically leave it as stock. So I went to play Witcher 3, which was really outstanding because I had that perfect scene where everything was dark inside the game. I had loads of, let's say, fire or flashing stuff happening on the side, and it really didn't, as you can see, it really didn't completely kill the picture, right? It was, you can clearly see the difference in those dark areas, and there's no problem with that, which is outstanding. So if you're not a professional, or at least you don't know how to adjust your monitor, and you can always go with restore to default settings, right? But you're good to go. So simply plug and play, and this monitor actually works perfectly like that. For other games, the picture quality, when we're talking about the color accuracy, is really there, and it's really outstanding. And I mean, everything that I played on this monitor was really great. Videos, I don't even have to mention those because they were really, really nice. And all in all, I'm quite satisfied, specifically because we have a quite nicely designed stand. This is really cool because you do have to take that into consideration as well. Not everybody mounts their monitors on the wall or some additional stand, right? So the stand has a possibility, well, two-way kind of cable management possibility. One is through the bottom of the stand, one is at the back with a cable clip. Cool. Then we have loads of connections at the back with the KVM switch. Nice addition, without a doubt. 1440p resolution at 165 Hz. And then we go with all the other specs, which are outstanding. Thin bevels on the side, and of course here in the middle, quite nice Cooler Master logo. Now, when you access the OSD menu, it's really straightforward. You have two actually buttons, let's put it this way, buttons at the back. One is to actually power it on or off, so you don't have to use the joystick to do that, which is finally, I would say, a good solution, because you immediately can switch it on or switch it off. And the joystick, of course, to navigate through OSD menu, which brings us to the point where you can actually set up quite loads of stuff, and it's quite user-friendly. It's quite simple. You don't have to think about what you're doing. You just have to read through the OSD menu, and you actually easily navigate through it. And that's also quite a big plus. So when we take everything all together into consideration, when we're talking about the GP2711, I think this is a quite nice, especially with mini LED and QuantumDOT. The only thing that VA panel is kind of with 4 milliseconds gray to gray, that kind of is a bit, I don't know. But all in all, big thumbs up. And I would say in those terms, where we're talking about 27-inch, right? 1440p and all the other stuff that I mentioned, I would actually give this monitor in that category a Best Buy badge. PC Crazy Best Buy badge, without a doubt. Really loving it, and I hope you'll too. So in those terms, links in the description are regarding Cooler Master Tempest GP2711. Then we have Cooler Master MasterMouse MM712, which is an ultra lightweight gaming mouse with three-way connection possibility. And finally, we have the Cooler Master MP511 Speed XL, which is a quite nice gaming mouse pad to pair it up with the mouse, because these two pair up quite nicely if you're looking for speed. Outstanding, and definitely thumbs up again for that. So links are in the description. If you're new to the channel and something of these three helped you decide, choose, or whatever, you can always subscribe, hit the like button, and click the notification bell, and hopefully I will see you soon, guys. Bye bye.